Back then, I mean, we would be gone for hours and we'd be just playing and we would pile up leaves and think we're gonna, jump out and scare people.
When I was 1 year old, my grandmother had passed away, and that was very devastating for the family.
Growing up here in Tulsa, believe it or not, we have city life here. It's not all just cowboys and Indians like a lot of people want to think that Tulsa or Oklahoma is.
And my mom really created the atmosphere in our home, just safe and peaceful. My dad stepping into State Farm and being able to work so hard and provide for us and lay the path even for me to step into that. And then the next day they have practice and the coach is calling my mom and saying, "Where is Brittany?" And she's like, "What do you mean?"
Welcome to Good Neighbor Game Changers.
We're Matt and Brittany, here to help you love boldly, lead with purpose, and shift the atmosphere right where you are.
This is your place to get encouraged, equipped, and activated to live on mission.
It starts by loving our neighbors in life and in business.
This is Good Neighbor Game Changers. Grab your cup of coffee and tune in.
Well, welcome to Good Neighbor Game Changers. Today we are going to go all the way back to our childhood memories and kind of talk about what stood out and maybe some areas that maybe had a little bit of pain, but we wanted to just take you through how we grew up and how that's shaping us today. So Matt is here with me, and I just wanted to start off with asking you, what are the earliest childhood memories you have? Kind of walk us through from the earliest memory all the way through high school.
Yeah, growing up here in Tulsa, believe it or not, we have city life here. It's not all just, cowboys and Indians like a lot of people want to think that Tulsa or Oklahoma is. We did all the things. We rode bikes in the neighborhood and played backyard football and played a lot of basketball in the driveway. And we grew up in a neighborhood that there was a lot of kids in our neighborhood, and we were all 2 or 3 grades apart. And so there was a lot of fierce competitions. I mean, the neighbor down the street had the perfect rectangle yard so we could play football in that yard. That was perfect. We had a really good basketball goal and our driveway was set up pretty good. We could do the basketball there. We hit golf balls in the backyard, and if you could hit it out of the backyard, that was a big deal. Baseball, we played in the cul-de-sac. We had a big cul-de-sac that we lived in, and so at the back of the cul-de-sac was home plate, and we played baseball out in the street. But man, we had all the kids. We had a great childhood in regard to, and it's different, man. Back then, I mean, we would be gone for hours and we'd be just playing. There was areas we would ride our bikes, and it was kind of a wooded area, and we'd be back there, think we're setting traps, and we would pile up leaves and think we're gonna, jump out and scare people. We had a great childhood growing up in regard to the just running and gunning. My grandparents lived in a little small town called Wetumpka, Oklahoma. It was a little small Creek Indian town. A lot of great memories going down there. We camped out. We would fish. We would ride bikes all over town. We'd go up and down Main Street. We'd take $1 and go buy ice cream cones at the Dairy Queen. And there was a lot of fun memories there. So yeah, in regard to that, playing sports, I mean, we played either on a team or we were playing in the neighborhood. So I don't know. How about your childhood? What are some of those early memories for you?
Yeah, well, I was firstborn. Were you?
I was firstborn too.
Okay. I was a firstborn. My parents were very young. They were 20. So they were in college, and they, born and raised in El Paso, Texas. So it's a border town. Very, very unique place. And my dad has, a few siblings, and he had an uncle that allowed them to bring me home to his back house. So I was, grew up very humbly. And as my parents navigated having to raise me and work full time. And so I was kind of raised by the tribe of the family. And my mom's mom, so my grandma didn't always live in Texas, so she ended up moving out of state. But early on, I think I just kind of was around the whole family the whole time. So even though I was the first grandchild on my dad's side, there was so many people to love on me and take care of me. And I didn't have a sibling till about 7 years later. So I had immense just, connection with family. And through that, there was heartbreak, though. When I was 1 year old, my grandmother had passed away, and that was very devastating for the family. And she was 49 years old.
Wow.
So I can only imagine my dad grieving and my grandfather losing, his wife, and my mom newly married into this family, and just heartbreak. And my dad actually had a brother who was just 9 years old at the time.
Oh, man.
So I realize now that I was born in with a lot of sadness in the atmosphere. But, I really grew to enjoy family. It's just what I love to be with them. And I started off doing ballet at 3, and then I went into soccer. My mom was my soccer coach. And so sports was so like just a big part of the family. With my dad, he was a college athlete, and all my uncles, everyone played sports.
Yeah.
And they would often around the table just talk about, sports stories. And so I started playing, and I love soccer. I ended up playing for a very long time, all the way through freshman year of high school before deciding to stick with volleyball. So soccer was a big part of my life, and it was neat because my mom was my coach.
Yeah.
And another thing that I remember growing up is, oh my gosh, just loving all the fashion details. I mean, I look back at
That's great.
pictures and I am, wearing just really unique clothing and loud and neon and just always with accessories. And my favorite color was iridescent. And I just always would want everything glitter and hologram. And nothing has changed, by the way.
That's great.
And so I really loved fashion, and I loved details and beauty.
Sure.
And my mom really created the atmosphere in our home. We finally did, of course, move out of the back house into a few homes, but she always made it so beautiful. And it felt so just safe and peaceful
Yeah.
through the beauty that she would bring in. And that's her gifting, is hospitality. And so that's definitely something I caught.
Makes sense.
It makes sense, is how to shift an atmosphere. So that was something that really growing up I can recall,
Yeah.
is just really being the intentional details. I mean, even the Easter dresses that they would put me in, everything was just very excellent. And same as you, we had this one particular duplex we lived in, and we would ride a bike to this like swamp, and we would just go in there for hours and play and ride and literally just like pick up leaves. And, we didn't have phones back then.
Yeah.
And we would just play. There was so much use of your imagination. And, growing up, I loved watching figures like Rocky and Pippi Longstocking. Just, they had represented so much strength and power. So I was really drawn to that. And yeah, growing up in El Paso is very unique. We're third generation Hispanic. So I was pretty Americanized in the culture, but I did, my roots come from Spanish and Comanche Indian.
Okay.
And they came over through the border, and my great grandfather, and then my grandfather settled in, my dad and me. So it's,
That's really cool.
yeah, things had definitely shifted.
Yeah.
Because, I actually, technically, my first language was Spanish. I had a live-in helper. She would come over the border, and she would live with us
So she'd come over all week?
all week.
Mm.
And then she'd go back home back to Mexico, and she'd help just cook and clean and watch me. And so her only language was Spanish. And so, as I'm learning my new, first couple words, I'm learning Spanish.
Wow.
Yes. Did not keep up with it, though.
Yeah.
I could say I'm definitely not fully bilingual, but I know enough to.
You ran a business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just so unique. That is kind of how we grew up there, just with that ability to, have someone to come over and help. And the last thing I'll say, too, is I grew up with a lot of tradition.
This episode is brought to you by Good Neighbor Coffee, our own passion project, brewed with purpose.
At Good Neighbor Coffee, we believe your morning cup should do more than just wake you up. It should inspire you to love boldly and live on mission.
Every bag of coffee you buy helps support local and global initiatives, from building community to funding outreach. It's coffee with a kingdom impact.
So whether you're starting your day, leading your team, or just needing that midday reset, brew a cup that fuels more than just your body. Choose purpose. Choose impact. Choose Good Neighbor Coffee. Order now at goodneighborcoffee.com and let your coffee be part of the mission.
Okay.
A lot of tradition. So I would spend time, obviously with my grandfather. He never remarried, and he lived a long life into his 70s as a widow. So we spent a lot of time with him.
Wow.
And he's
Okay.
actually the one that was a State Farm agent. He was first a coach, head football coach, and then became a State Farm agent. And we spent a lot of time together. We were very close. And that is my memories of childhood, is going over to his house.
Yeah.
And I was his only granddaughter, and just swimming, eating, and dancing. We would dance
Yeah.
to this music. The artist is called Eddie Gourmet.
Eddie
And
Gourmet?
oh my gosh, we would just dance and we would play dominoes.
Dominoes. Yeah. Played dominoes with my grandparents too.
You did?
And yeah.
Dominated in dominoes. So that's kind of what I, remember and recall.
Did you guys play Uno?
No.
No. My grandparents were big. We did a lot of Uno.
A lot of Uno.
Yeah.
Yeah, just dominoes.
Okay.
But we had a lot of structure and just predictability.
Which is good in one regard as a kid.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So I would say growing up, it was all about tradition, family, and sports. Sports was bringing a lot of discipline and a lot of structure as well.
Yeah.
And I'm just so grateful that my parents, still married today, have gone through so much. But, stepping into, my dad stepping into State Farm and being able to work so hard and provide for us and lay the path even for me to step into that. And just from where we came from,
Yeah.
two 19-year-old kids.
A lot of people listening kind of go through the whole, where are we going to send our kids to school? There's the public school route, there's the private school route, there's the Christian school route, there's the, you kind of got a variety. How would you speak to parents out there about the schools that you kind of went to growing up?
Yeah, I remember my mom as an adult, she told me, she says, it was such a hard decision. I really had to pray because I felt the weight of moving schools for you was going to change your life. And it did. I started off in a Montessori school,
Okay.
loved it. And then I ended up going to a public school, great public school. But because I was on a wait list for a Catholic school.
Gotcha.
And so once I was at the public school, I would say it was second and third grade, I moved to the Catholic school. There was an opening and I was able to go. And I went from fourth grade to eighth grade to this Catholic school. And that changed everything because from public to this private Catholic, it was smaller, it was strict. And, in fifth grade, I got to play volleyball.
Yeah.
And I was always playing soccer the whole time. But in fifth grade, I got to play at the Catholic school versus seventh grade at the public school.
Okay.
And so I'm thankful for those 2 years. I had a very hard coach, but she taught me so much.
Yeah.
And so that gave me 2 more years to play ahead of, everyone else,
Yeah.
which we know that ended up being such a part of my life, volleyball. But a kind of a unique story, which is just like, I always remember is it was like old school where you would put your name on a piece of paper and after school you're running to the gym to see, like you pack your clothes in case you made the team and you'll stay for practice or you go home. Well, my name was not on the list.
Oh gosh.
Oh, I just could not believe it. I felt like I had, 12 years old. I thought I did, decent at the tryouts. I mean, I'm already a soccer player. Felt like I had,
Athletic enough.
athletic enough. And I remember my mom picking me up and I was like, Mom, I didn't make it. And she's like, it's okay, honey. And then the next day they have practice and the coach is calling my mom and saying, where is Brittany? And she's like, what do you mean? She didn't make it. And she goes, yes, she did. We forgot her name.
No.
Tell her to come to practice right now. Like, she was one of the best ones.
And they forgot to put your name.
They didn't put my name on the list. So I am like, go from this like heartbreak, like, oh my gosh, because all my friends made the team.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I guess I'll just be a soccer player. And then so I'm like coming to practice and I ended up literally getting my college education paid for
Through volleyball.
for volleyball. So that was such a unique thing that happened.
Gee.
And I'm so grateful that they called me wondering where was I. But yes.
So that was eighth grade. You were still in the private Catholic school.
And then I went to freshman. I went to an all-girls Catholic school.
Wow.
So talk about another transition.
Yeah.
And only girls. And we had to wear a uniform. And in March of that year, my parents looked at me and said, do you want to transfer to Franklin High School? Well, Franklin High School is like Jinx High School.
Oh, man.
5A, gorgeous, brand new. And, we're right by our house.
Yes.
Brand new volleyball gyms. And they had just brought in a huge,
Time coach.
big time coach from New Mexico. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, but I'm playing varsity as a freshman.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, if I don't make varsity, like, how would I go playing varsity as a freshman to then go to a public school and be, on JV,
Yeah.
junior varsity? So, I said, well, I'm open if we want to do it. And I'm now going from this tiny all-girls school in uniform to the biggest school with boys and girls and, multiple gyms and
Wear whatever.
I needed to go shopping, and I walked in with like a green piece of paper, meaning, oh, here's the girl that's transferring in the middle of the year.
Kid, yeah.
There was one other person the same day I started in March. We both walk in, and I am just like, this is overwhelming. This is a lot.
Yeah.
But obviously connected with the volleyball coach, and it all worked out. I ended up making varsity.
Wow.
And I transferred, and I had one just amazing girl that was at the Catholic school I was. She was older than me. It was her senior year at Franklin High School, and she took me to lunch as a freshman.
Oh, man.
And she was popular, and so that just was so, amazing for me to transition well.
Yeah. Does she know that? Did you ever tell her that story?
Yeah, she was an awesome athlete, and then she graduated, and here I am, sophomore year, all on my own, and, ready to hit the volleyball floor, and yeah, so.
Well, what a cool just upbringing. I love hearing that. Love hearing about El Paso. I'm a big fan of El Paso. I love getting together anytime we get to go down there. And so really cool, Britt. Thanks for sharing some of that. And I hope you guys found some value and maybe some connecting points, but just realize that, hey, there is, I think from Brittany's story, there was some taking that leap of faith and going from the small private girls' school to the big public school probably sets you up for taking those bigger steps later on in life.
You know what? I want to say this point, for the moms and dads out there that are trying to navigate or thinking, gosh, we've moved our kid from school to school. One of the things, being able to be resilient in that was I was able to move from Houston, Texas to Tulsa to start a new life. And I don't think I could have done that if I was in a school from kinder to 12th.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had that ability to adapt and be resilient.
Yeah.
And so that set me up. It was preparation because I had to move a few different places. To start a business, I had to move. Yeah. And so to switch careers, I had to move. Yeah. And ultimately to, get married and started a family, I had to move. So take the pressure off. Just make sure, seek the Lord and pray about your children's school, but just know it's often preparation for what's ahead.
Cool. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode.
Thanks for joining us today on Good Neighbor Game Changers.
If this encouraged you, hey, share it with a friend and keep the movement going.
And remember, real change starts with one act of love.
Let's keep changing the game by loving our neighbors.